Welcome back to Warpaint TV, February 16th, 2010. Once again, I'm Shane Williams here with Chiefs Insider Nick Athan. How's it going today, Nick?
Good, Shane. How are you, buddy?
Great. Hey, Chiefs really pulled off a surprise on us with the signing of Emmett Thomas to be the new Kansas City Chiefs defensive backs coach. We really saw it coming out of nowhere with that. What did you think about that move?
Well, I thought it was a good move. First of all, Emmett's always wanted to coach in Kansas City, and he left here. I think he went to Central Missouri State when he got out of got done playing with the Chiefs and had an opportunity to, go through the coaching ranks. He's been a defensive coordinator in this league. He's been a secondary coach. Great fit for the organization. They've got two young corners in Brandon Flowers and Brandon Carr, and depending on what they decide to do with Jared Page, whether they re-sign him or not or offer him a contract here in the next couple of weeks, he would be good for him too, because I think, for Page in particular, he blossomed under Herm Edwards. I think he can blossom under Emmett Thomas, and I think the other young corners can as well. And if the Chiefs go with Barry from Tennessee, the safety, to have a guy like Emmett Thomas, great player, one of my favorite Chiefs of all time. We talked about the coaching changes, and a couple hours later after we recorded the show, they announced his hire. But good move by the organization. Again, three good moves so far. They get Weiss, they get Cornell, they get Thomas, and they rid themselves of some very bad NFL assistant coaches. And so far, I give the Chiefs A+.
He really, in 2007, the Atlanta Falcons were in turmoil. They had the Michael Vick situation. Bobby Petrino left them a day after a game, and Emmett Thomas became the interim head coach. If you remember correctly, when they were looking for head coaches at the end of the 2007 season, a lot of members of the Atlanta Falcons went into Arthur Blank's office, and they said they wanted Emmett Thomas as their head coach. That speaks highly of Emmett Thomas's ability to keep the team together.
It certainly does, but you know what? A lot of players have done that. When the Chiefs got rid of Makovic, back in the 80s, it was Frank Gans Jr. and all the players went to Lamar Hunt and said, hey, we want this guy as our head coach. 2 years later, Carl Peterson came aboard, Marty Scheidenhammer came aboard. So, again, what the players want is one thing, but when it comes down to stuff like that, for the Falcons, they made the right moves. They brought in a great GM. They had a good draft. They made some good moves. They didn't make the playoffs last year, but they did the year before. And, they did everything right. So I think that if there's any lessons to be learned here, what the players want are pretty much insignificant. What Scott Pioli has done, along with Clark Hunt, who's put the money into the coaching staff, is saying, hey, we know how to build this thing. We know what it's going to take. We were shortchanged a year ago because we didn't have time to get a staff like we've talked about before. Now they have that staff. There's no more complaints. Now they have to look at it and say, okay, we've got an offensive philosophy, we've got a defensive philosophy, we've got a special teams philosophy, we've got some really good young coaches that we've brought in, guys that have experience, have won Super Bowl rings. So now it's different. Now they can coach up, and they can concentrate on which players they're going to sign, what free agents they're going to go after, and what players they're going to find to draft that fit into the systems that they have in place.
Talking about the Chiefs' offensive line, Wade Smith really came on as the right guard for the Chiefs the last 6 games of the season. When Jamal Charles was rushing for 1,100 yards, Wade Smith deserves a lot of credit for that. And looking back in his career, he was a third-round draft pick out of Memphis with the Miami Dolphins, started every game his rookie season in 2003 at left tackle. He was nicked up in 2004, and he was on injured reserve with the Dolphins in 2005 with a forearm injury. In 2006 and 2007, he was with the Jets as a backup, came to the Chiefs, started the first 6 games of the 2008 season before being replaced by Adrian Jones at right guard. He started December 14th at center in 2008. Of course, last year, 2009, he was backup. He showed that he could play at right guard, and we haven't seen a right guard play that well since Will Shields. Do you feel going into the 2010 season that Wade Smith has got a lock on that right guard position, or do you think he's going to have to battle for it some more?
Well, I think he should battle for it, but that offensive line solidified itself over the last 6 games because he did such a good job at right guard. What makes him such a good player is he's versatile. He can play center, he can play guard, and really what he excelled at was, he did a lot of pulling, which is stuff they didn't do in the first 10 games of the season because they just didn't have the right side of the offensive line functioning. And what I mean by pulling is, he'll come around the center and he'll take on the linebacker hitting the gap, and that makes the hole wide open for Jamal Charles. And that's why you saw Jamal Charles have a lot of success, especially running up the middle, because they had a hard time running, up the middle with Rudy Neiswinger because he was getting pushed off the ball too much. So, Wade did a great job. Can he be the starter at right guard? I'd have no problem with it. They have no one else on the roster right now that can play right guard. I think the Chiefs are going to probably sign a free agent or two, certainly along the offensive line, whether it's a starter or a backup to bring more competition. I certainly think they're going to address it in the draft. But as far as I'm concerned, Wade Smith's one of those guys who just gets it. He understands it. I think he'll excel in the Weiss system. And I think if they give him an opportunity to play right guard, I'm okay with it. I mean, they have to replace the center. They have to find a right tackle. And they may move Brandon Albert to right tackle. We don't know where Brian Waters is going to be next year. A lot of rumors circulating that he may end up in Buffalo with Shane Gailey. So if that's the case, I mean, they're going to need 3 offensive line starters. But I don't think they have to worry about right guard. I think with Mike Goff also, second year, looks like he may be replaced or released. Wade Smith's the guy.
Let's lead to the rumors here. The Brady Quinn talk, the Julius Peppers talk. What's the latest on that?
Well, right now, Charlie Weiss wants Brady Quinn to be the backup quarterback in Kansas City. Brody Crowell is entering his 6th year. He's one of those free agents that's kind of caught in no man's land with the collective bargaining agreement that's set to expire and the uncapped year ahead of us. But he really likes him. I don't know if Weiss is sold on Matt Castle. I think that he thinks that, we've got to have a backup. He wants somebody he's familiar with. He recruited him at Notre Dame. He, had Romeo Crennel had him as the quarterback in Cleveland. He's a little bit more physical. I think he's got a lot of tools. I still say Brody Crowell has the best arm this organization's had since Steve DeBerg, so that's saying something. But I don't think he fits again. He's rumored to be going to Buffalo as well, to be reunited with Shane Gailey, like I said. But if Quinn is a 4th or 5th round pick, I make the trade. I mean, right now Cleveland wants a 2nd. Every team has told them, no, that's not going to happen. So if they get a 5th-round pick for him, I think the Chiefs would take it. I think Quinn would be the backup, and I think he would bring competition to Matt Castle. And I think Matt Castle needs to have a legitimate competition if he's going to become the quarterback. Because remember, this year he's making almost $12.5, $13 million. So I think the Chiefs would be wise to bring in another quarterback.
And Julius Peppers?
I think the Chiefs are the front runner. Now, I'm in the minority of that. A lot of people think maybe Miami or New England or a team like that may be better suited for him. But the Chiefs are desperate of a pass rusher. They have to have one. And I think right now it makes the most sense for the Chiefs. It's going to cost them some money. Kyle Vandenbosch is another guy who Tennessee's going to let go, another 30-something guy. Right now, the only pass rusher this team has is Tom Bahali, and that's it. There's nothing else out there. Tyson Jackson, is going to take this year to develop. Maybe by year 3, he'll be the type of defensive end. Glenn Dorsey's not a pass rusher. He could be on to Detroit to be reunited with Gunther Cunningham, one of the rumors going out. So right now, I think that the Chiefs, are going to look at those 2 guys in particular as maybe their top 2 targets in free agency.
Free agency's coming next. We're just inside of weeks. We don't know what's going to happen, but how much money do you feel the Chiefs will spend going into free agency? What do you look for?
Well, I mean, the Chiefs only have 6 guys under contract right now that have significant dollars owed to them beyond the 2010 season. That's 6 out of a 53-man roster that they owe money. So they have a lot of room to play with. And of those 6 guys, I could see a couple of them. Brian Waters, probably one guy that's not going to be here in 2011. I think, the Chiefs are in a position right now where they can spend money. They have money to spend. They don't have ludicrous contracts at their disposal. Again, only 5 or 6 guys are going to make significant dollars. With $35 million in cap space they had a year ago, uncapped year, it's going to allow them to either get rid of some of these guys or make some trades and acquire some talent. So I think the Chiefs are going to be very active.
You heard it here first from Chiefs insider Nick Athan. Once again, I'm Shane Williams with Warpaint TV. Until next time, thank you.